Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. All right, I want to talk to you today about first things first, because, I will tell you, Stephen Covey, who's no longer with us, wrote this big book. It was a big book. That was just, everybody bought it. And, I think I went through 2, maybe even 3 copies. I had the hard copy, then I had the soft book back. I had the CDs that I listened to in my car. I was all trying to get into it. I found it dry. I found it boring, but I listened. I slogged through. Okay. I slogged through. It's just, this is the story that you got to tell the truth though, right? This is exactly what it was about. I loved his habit 3, which is first things first. And this is what he said about it. Organizing and executing around your most important priorities. So to that, what I say is, duh, of course, that's what we want to do. We want to put our first priorities first, don't we? We want to have those things first. And the thing that's behind that, even though he kind of talked about what all of that was, it didn't satisfy me. Deep down, it just didn't give me the satisfaction. That's not a satisfactory answer, because he doesn't understand all the hoops that I go through in my head. He doesn't understand all the excuses, the obstacles, all the, stuff that a lot of us, and I'm talking collectively as women, what we have, the things, the reasons why we say that we can't. And so I want to talk about the how part of figuring out not just what the priorities are, but how to get them in, so that they actually make it into your to-do list and they actually get done. And it's not just about frogs or cupcakes or rocks, which we talked about yesterday and kind of talked about putting first things first, getting those big things done. But it's also about adjusting what's between your ears so that our priorities actually get into the list, get into the place of getting done. So while I was in meditating today, this was pretty much what was going to be on my list anyway of what we were going to do today. But as I was doing that, this is exactly what came to me while I was in my meditation. And it was, the opposing forces can only oppose with your permission. I'm sorry, that was a cosmic 2x4. And I don't know where that came from. I'm going to say that it came from God, but it's, what permissions do we give things? What permissions do we do? And the word permission is so important. Tomorrow we're going to talk determination, but today it's about permission, because I think one of the things that we do is that we're extraordinarily overly protective with so many things and not so much with ourselves. Let me just say this, case in point. First of all, what is permission? Permission is consent. It's authorization, right? So how about this? Think about the permissions that we give. We give permission slips for our kids. We give permissions on apps. Do you want to have the notifications or not? Do you want to allow downloads or not? We have permissions. We even have permission to come aboard. We even have permission to be excused. We have permissions for all these different things. And have you thought about it? Like when you sign a permission slip, you think about it. Do I want my child to do this? Do I want them to be, who are they going to be around? What's it all about? And we're careful because we want to guard their little hearts and minds, don't we? And their eyes and their ears and everything else. We're careful. But what permissions do we have in our lives? Before we can get to priorities, we have to get to permissions. That's my thought. We have to recognize that, for starters, these permissions are the opener. These are the door opener that allow us to make things happen in our lives. And I believe that what happens oftentimes is there's an incongruency. We say, this is what we want, but we haven't granted permission for these good things, and we've denied permission for some good things as well. And we've given permission for things that we shouldn't have in there. And we've denied permission. Do you see where I'm going with all of this? To me, this just made my eyeballs pop right out of my head, because I realize and I recognize that I haven't even connected with those things. So the permission that we let lapse or sag or go unguarded is often the permission we give ourselves to the very things that pull us down. We give ourselves permission to eat freely out of a bag of chips, for example. We give ourselves permission to just this once drive through and go get something to eat because we're starving, right? We're starving. We're starving. Yeah, not so much. We give ourselves permission to do the things that pull us down, and we don't give it a second thought. And I'm saying to you, it's not just an excuse, it's a permission. And you need to readjust the control center. What do you give yourself permission to do? What do you put yourself in alignment with? How do you give your children permission? And why would you give yourself that kind of a permission to allow things into your life that totally take you down? This is why we put stuff on repeat. This is why we keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, and we get so frustrated. We haven't adjusted the permissions. You know what it is? You have to go into the account settings and let me just tell you, on Facebook, when you have a business page, that is a cluster. You go in there and you're thinking, I don't know where all this stuff is landing, and you have to look and you have to look. Sometimes that's how it is with us. We have to look and think, what permission am I giving that needs to be cut off because it's destroying me? It's just destroying my resolve. It's creating a list of excuses. It's putting me in a place where I can't be successful. I can't be successful. You can't be successful if your permissions aren't set correctly. We have that happen all the time because people will say to us, I'm not getting your emails, or I'm not getting the menus that I purchased, or whatever. Your permissions are set too high so that you're not getting what it is that you need because of your email filters. Well, your email filters and permissions are set too high, but the permissions that you have in your own life are set too low. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm not saying that you have low standards. I'm saying your permissions, the things that you're not even thinking about, are the things that need to be addressed. So we need new permissions in our lives, don't we? New ones, completely different ones. We need resolution. We need to rethink what this is. What does it mean when I sit down and I allow food addiction to just take over? It means my permissions are set way too low. I got to set them up high because I can't let this stuff in. I've got tools in my tool chest. I can open it up anytime, take them out anytime, and use them anytime. I'll say this to you until I turn blue in the face, and that is, I can give you all of the tools that I know work. I cannot take them out of the box for you, and I cannot build your bridge. But I will tell you this, that when you make a decision that you are going to be an expert builder in your own life, and you're going to build it with whatever, you're going to build it with the things that are available to you. Our bridges are all going to look different. That's when you're going to start to see that the journey is the prize. It's not just getting there, but the journey is the prize. The construction is the prize. The doing it yourself, the seeing inside of yourself that you are so much more than you think you are. You've just got your permissions a little wonky. Let's just tighten them up. Examine everything. It's all worth examining. What was his name? W. Scott Peck, I think it was. An unexamined life is not worth living. And he got that from Socrates, just a little change-o thingy. But this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing. Exactly. Sarah said we need pre-made decisions, always and never rules. Exactly. Our always and never rules help us and guide us and keep it so that we're not mentally fatigued from doing all these things. I'm just asking you to go a step further, that if you find yourself again in front of the TV with a bag of chips and your hand going in and out, you haven't set a permission on that and used an always and never rule. Set the permission. Set the permission to never, and watch how it changes your life, because these are the things that build on one another. So I'm going to give you permission to sleep, okay? Permission to sleep, to get your 7 to 9 hours a day. You can do this and you can have this. Yes, you can. Even if you have huge projects, even if your house is just upside down and you're wanting to do all these things, even if you're like Joanne in the middle of a big move and having to do all these things, you don't have to work yourself into the bone and exhaustion. I give you permission to sleep. I give you permission to hydrate. I give you permission to exercise and eat well within the boundaries that make sense for your life. You have permission to do all of that. Those boundaries keep your dogs in the fence, right? Keep your dog from getting lost and picked up by the pounder, worse, getting run over by a car. We do this for our dogs. Let's do it for ourselves. So you also have permission to say no. You say no to things that don't help you to build this vibrant life that you want. If it's out of congruency, it's out of congruency. I also give you permission to say, use your voice and say it in a very sweet and kind way. Just, no, I'm sorry, that's just not going to work for me at this time. There you go, complete sentence, right? Said with love. And we're done. Scene, right? We're done. It's just that simple. And I give you the permission to say yes to the vibrant life that you want to create. You get to do this. You get to create it exactly the way you want, just like decorating your house, just like choosing a car, whatever it is a decision that you get to make, and you've got permission to do that. You're authorized to do that. How about that? How about that? Permission to come aboard? Granted. You got that? Granted. You can get aboard on the boat you want to, and you can sail exactly to the destination that you want to. I want you to enjoy the journey every single step of the way. You've got carte blanche to do what you want as long as you set the permissions. And I want you to remember this. This is what I heard today. It was so good. I believe this was God, because I was praying too, just previous to all of this meditation. The opposing forces can only oppose with your permission. With your permission. So you're so much more, you are so much stronger, and you have the ability, the absolute capacity, and the voice, and the decision making that you need right now inside of you. Tap it. Set those permissions high and stay the course, because I want you to know this, that you can have whatever you want, and the vibrancy that you want, you get to illustrate that. You get to set the standards. You get to have that. Just make a decision to do it and set your permissions. Ta-da! I hope that was helpful. I really do. But it was helpful for me if it wasn't for Sarah. Get thee behind me snacks. Yes. Yes, or they will get behind you, if you know what I'm saying. Snacks have a chance to do that. We have crackers in our pantry upstairs, and I am telling you, they're looking at me. Every single day they look at me. I'm like, oh, no, you don't. That will not be happening. No crackers for me. We never have crackers. But we do right now. But I'm not about to give permission for them to come aboard. Susan said this is very helpful. I appreciate that. Anna, pinkies up, girlfriend, my night owl. And pinkies up to all of you. I so appreciate you. I love that you show up. I love that you comment. I love that you're here. It means everything to me. It really does. And guess what? We get to do this together. I'm so excited. Shut the pantry door. Oh, thank you, Sharon. You're so sweet. Yeah, we got to shut that pantry door. Believe me, I shut it. I denied permission on that one. Peace be with you. See you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.